Alcohol and drug abuse in mental health. Alcohol abuse is overrated, while drug abuse is underrated. The DSM manual suggests that substance abuse there are differences in the definition of drug and alcohol use. To confuse matters worse, the law has its own version of who is an alcoholic or drug addict. Some of the symptoms that help professionals determine if alcohol and drugs are a problem include excessive drinking, drugging, problems with the law, withdrawal symptoms, shaking of the hands, and so forth. Alcohol, drugs. Alcohol abuse is overrated, while drug abuse is underrated. The DSM manual suggests that substance abuse there are differences in the definition of drug and alcohol use. To confuse matters worse, the law has its own version of who is an alcoholic or drug addict. Some of the symptoms that help professionals determine if alcohol and drugs are a problem include excessive drinking, drugging, problems with the law, withdrawal symptoms, shaking of the hands, and so forth. If a person drinks every day of the week and relies on alcohol, then you are probably dealing with an alcoholic. There are philosophers who claim if a person needs a drink at breakfast, that he or she is an alcoholic. Some philosophers claim that if you drink more than 6-pack weeks, then you are an alcoholic. The fact is, most of the people nagging or evaluating alcohol and drugs has a problem themselves or has gotten help from someone in their lifetime to treat their own problems. Therefore, as you can see, addictions, dependent alcoholics, and other types of alcoholics and drug addicts may alter. First of all, any chemical that causes harm is a potential danger to your being. In other words, if you start out drinking when you are 14 and continue through your life without alcohol causing you trouble, or else landing you a spot in jail, then you are probably not an alcoholic according to few. The fact is, the ones that are drinking and driving and getting caught are alcoholics according to the system, although the level of alcohol in the blood plays a role in the determination. The truth is, the law sometimes overdramatizes and the system is out to make all the money they can, so we all might be alcoholics by the time they are done with us. Alcoholism and drug addictions are complex, in the sense there are too many misconstrued inputs and often the label is placed on individuals according to culture and history. If your parents drank alcohol, then the system sometimes will claim you as an alcoholic. The fact is, Jesus drinks wine in moderation, so drinking in moderation is not a bad thing. The problem becomes a problem when the person has difficulty putting down the bottle and/or increases their intake as well as combining drugs with the alcohol to get an effect they were had. If someone will steal or lie to get alcohol or drugs, then you know they have a real problem. However, most alcoholics and drug addicts have bigger problems than addictions, and this is often ignored. For example, people with mental illnesses often resort to alcohol and/or drugs to find relief of their symptoms. Now, if a professional is treating this person for his or her diagnosis and progress is moving along, the person often feels healthy, and the alcohol and drugs are out the door. In my studies and opinions, I disagree with alcoholism and drug addictions if the person is able to stop once the mental illness is treated. This means that the person was suffering and the substances were a mechanism to help them cope. On the other hand, if the person is treated for mental illnesses and his or her drug and alcohol habits continue, then I think you had better get out of the chair and start talking, one day at a time. Alcohol was once known as the devil's drink. The white men are the originator of the source, and since its beginning, it has caused serious complications, including death, abuse, and other related crimes. Drugs are optional since the system often makes them available by teaching individuals what the drugs contain. The root of all evil is money, and if a person sees that he or she can gain, they may take advantage, but fall into a snare in between. The system is overwrought since they put alcoholics and drug addicts in jail and not seeking help for them. The solution to humankind's problem is helping and not hurting or promoting. If we can't get along now, what makes you think you are going to heaven?